News from you folks. So I'm going to try to work through some of those. I got a request from one Dave Langer who asked me to review Hearthstone. Now, Hearthstone is a game that I've played a ton of, both in the beta and every day since it's come out. Now it's out on the iPad. I've talked about it a lot of places, both on my show DLC on the 5x5 network and on Weekend Confirmed when we used to do that show. But I realized I never really did a formal review of Hearthstone. So this is for you, Dave, and I hope everybody else enjoys hearing about my take on Hearthstone. It's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a 100 out of 100. It's a whatever it is. It's an A+. It's pretty much as close as I've ever seen to a perfect video game. Now, I've been a big fan of Magic the Gathering and tabletop games, collectible card games, that style of play for a long time. But Blizzard, as they often do, came in, perfected it, honed in on what makes those kinds of games great, accentuated the positives, and got rid of the fiddly bits and all the clunky aspects of Magic the Gathering and similar games. It is really perfected crack. It is as addictive as any game I've ever played. It's as fun as any game I've ever played. It's wonderful and amazing, and here's why. Okay, so if you are even the slightest bit put off by the idea of Hearthstone, give it a shot. It's free to play, and there is a wonderful tutorial built into the game that ramps you in, that introduces you to the mechanics of the game. Basically, you are taking on a class from World of Warcraft, Paladin, Mage, Hunter, etc., and you are facing off against another hero, and each of you has cards that do certain things. Some of them are spells that can cast magical attacks or buff certain things, and others of them are creatures that you'll play down in front of you that can do your bidding, and usually that bidding includes attacking the other player. So these creatures all have different values of attack and health and a cost in mana points, or gems, I suppose it is here. And you get a new gem to spend every single round of the game. You start with 1 in the first round and move up to 2 in the second round. And it's a vertical linear acceleration up to 10 gems. So different from Magic, which is all about playing cards from your hand and you have to play mana out of your hand onto the table, you'll never be in a position where you won't get another mana point that turn until you get all the way up to 10 and you're maxed out. Which is really elegant and beautiful because it allows the game to ramp up equally on both sides, and you don't have to worry about packing your hand with mana cards or drawing the right amount of mana cards into your hand, or worrying, as you do in Magic, what color mana cards you might have to play. Now, that adds a level of complexity and a level of craftsmanship in composing your decks that is really interesting in Magic, but I find that the simplicity of removing that layer in Hearthstone really does make the game much more streamlined, much easier to grasp for new players, a lot less off-putting and intimidating for new players, and really just cuts to the fun. Because the fun isn't about managing your lands in Magic. The fun is throwing down cool creatures, buffing them, using combos with other creatures that do certain effects, and making attacks. And Hearthstone gets right to the action. It's also really, really great at creating an experience that's unique depending on which class you select. In Magic, you're crafting a deck based on a color, and the 5 colors all have different aspects and play very differently, which is a wonderful part of Magic. And the planeswalkers all have personality and different play styles associated with them. But having a class that you select and having cards limited to that class in Hearthstone really creates an experience that's unique to that class, and you really decide what kind of play do you want. Like if you select a priest, you're going to be healing a lot. He has this special ability to heal, so you create cards that will help you out if you heal them. You'll find cards that when they're healed they get buffed, or when they get damaged they get buffed. So you want to put those into your deck. And crafting a deck in Hearthstone is really the pure joy. So if you're a new player and you start out with the tutorial and you're practicing at the inn, trying to level up your character and collect all those base cards, it's fun right away. But when you get to that next layer of playing against real human opponents, and then getting into the crafting of your deck, that's when the game blows wide open. And Blizzard is so incredibly smart with how they craft the multiplayer experience. It is accentuating what is fun about multiplayer and getting rid of all those things that are frustrating about multiplayer. I'm one of those people that can stay out of, FPS multiplayer, for example, or really hardcore competitive games, just because at a certain point I'm not having fun. I'm dying a lot. My stats suck. It just becomes more of a chore than fun. And with Hearthstone, Blizzard has done a really smart thing. There's actually several really smart things. First of all, it only keeps track of how many wins you have, not how many losses, which psychologically is a huge deal. You're never looking at that number or that ratio between wins and losses. So you're never feeling awful about yourself for all the loses that you may have. You only get to see your wins accumulate. And when you get into ranked mode, the lower ranks, you don't go down in a rank when you lose. So you can continue progressing through the lower ranks and feel like you're going somewhere. Also, they're really brilliant in that they limit the amount of communication that you have with another player. I find all of the PvP experience that I have in Hearthstone to be very positive because I and the people I'm playing against only have a few select phrases that we can even communicate to one another. If they're not on my friends list, all I can say to them is greetings, well played, thanks, oops, or I can't remember what the other one is, but they're all very innocuous, very friendly things. Now, as much as I find myself in situations sometimes wanting to say LOL or wanting to comment or explain why I did something or say, wow, that was really great, all I can say is well played or thank you or greetings or, or a threaten is the most nefarious of them. But even that is phrased in a way that's unique to your character and you don't have any real, it's not psychologically intimidating or crass. And that's huge because it feels like whether I'm playing, I have no idea who I'm playing against, whether they're, 10 years old or 70 years old, the experience that I often have on Xbox Live or other services where I'm constantly getting this trash talk and garbage coming at me, here it always feels positive because people tend to be complimentary because all they can say is great job or, well played or thank you. And so I tend to feel that way about them. I tend to feel like we are both in an honorable meeting of competitors. And that is a huge factor in me wanting to come back to this game over and over and over again because it doesn't have a negative connotation. Even losing, it tends to be the case that when somebody plays a game that's great, or does a really cool attack on me, I don't feel like, cheesy, lame, whatever, all those negative things. I always say, wow, well played, good job, amazing deck that person must have put together, because that's the only manner of communication that we have with one another. I can't overstate, I think, how big a design decision that was and how much it creates a positive experience for me. But just the moment-to-moment playing of Hearthstone is sublime. The balance of the decks, as I said, the feeling of each class and how different constitutions of decks really do feel different and you can create these things, and the crafting of decks. Now that's such a brilliant addition of creating a real economy within the game that you can't do with physical cards. I mean, physical cards have an actual economy. You can go sell your Magic cards to the guy down the street for a real physical number of dollars, but here you can disenchant, dust your cards, turn them into arcane dust, and reconstitute them into something else. So there's always this flux of I'm putting effort and time into the game, and it's giving me something back. So even if I buy a pack, I mean, you can buy it with real human dollars or you can buy it with gold. If I buy a pack, any of the cards that I get that are disenchantable, that are rares, even if they're not great for me, they're going to have some value to me. So it's not time wasted. It's not money wasted if it's actual money. And the game does a great job of giving you gold. So if you do want to play the game without spending your hard-earned cash, if you do want to just grind gold, every single day you're going to get a new quest. And those quests are really fun to do. They're varied and they're interesting. I just had one yesterday where I had two quests at the same time. One was 2 wins with a mage and a paladin, and the other one was 2 wins with a mage or a hunter. So I did a mage and I got 2 wins, and it did both quests, and it made me feel like, awesome, I doubled up my time. So I'm grinding gold, I'm doing quests every day, I'm coming back to the game over and over, and there's never any less fun. As you can tell, I adore the game. I think it is really one of the most perfect video game experiences I've ever had. I play it daily. I love the fact that it's on the iPad now. It's a perfect device for that style of game. It feels natural to touch those cards and slide them out. It's a beautiful implementation. My only gripe with the iPad implementation is that there is literally no offline mode. So my Wi-Fi only enabled iPad, I can't just take it on the plane and practice and grind out some levels against the innkeeper, which I wish, it seems like I should be able to do, and I wish I could. So that's a gripe. Other than that, this is a sublime experience, a near perfect experience in every way. Beautiful graphics, great feedback, animations, interesting combinations of cards, it just feels good to play it. I hope you love Hearthstone as much as I do, and if you haven't tried it, I hope you give it a chance because, boy, it's something special. Thanks for watching this NLB Mini, and I appreciate you sending in those requests for reviews, and I will do my best to honor them. See you next time.